everybody, and welcome to this video where we'll be diving into the world of enterprise tools and their applications. The reason I wanted to create this was because I personally learn things by example. So thought of learning a tool while addressing a particular use case. Today I'll be sharing my experience and insight gained from working with various tools, be it in integration space or API space, and also including ServiceNow, Fivetran, and Databricks to optimize a particular process. So in today's example, it will be a procurement process. So let's jump right in. So it's a dummy use case for an Acme incorporation, and I'm very excited to share how I utilize my enterprise experience to explore these particular tools also. With a focus on procurement process, I'll demonstrate how these tools can shape and enhance this critical aspect of any organization. And then please note that I'll be using Postman and AWS for Databricks data storage. I won't delve into the specifics of those technologies. And this video is not a deep dive into each tool, but to see how it can address a certain use case. So these are the technologies which I'll be using today. Its use case is pretty straightforward. Every enterprise follows a procurement process of acquiring software or hardware, and our goal is to showcase how intelligence and data-driven decisions can transform this process into a highly optimized experience. So Fivetran, many of you might know, it's a powerful data integration platform, automation ELT2, which allows data from various sources to be centralized. So we will be using Fivetran to move data from ServiceNow into Databricks in today's example. ServiceNow, that's a cloud-based ITSM platform, automating and managing IT processes from incident management to change management, and you name it. It's everything is there. Most of the functionalities are there out of ServiceNow. Databricks, it's a unified analytics platform integrating big data and machine learning, providing tools for data engineering, processing, and collaborating data science. And it will be used in today's example. It will be used to visualize data from ServiceNow through Fivetran, and creating dashboards on top of it, creating alerts out on top of it, and then we'll go into a little bit details about Databricks also. So let's go into the ServiceNow process. So when you sign up for ServiceNow, it will give you a lot of out of the box processes also, but I created a workflow from scratch to understand its functionalities. While there are a lot of other demo processes available, so I wanted to test the tool myself. I simulated external app integration using Postman and utilized a switch functionality to guide the workflow based on different scenarios. An approval process led by a COI profile is included for project within a certain budget threshold. So it's a very simple workflow, and it can take any route based on the input data which I'll be sending out. But it is a very standard use case for any big enterprise. So let's just quickly touch on the product also. So this is a ServiceNow screen. So when you sign up for ServiceNow, and for me it is a trial version of ServiceNow which I am using, and it'll give you a lot of functionality in the trial version itself. So when you log in, right? So one of the most important thing of ServiceNow is everything is available out of this all tab. For example, let's say if I want to create a workflow, I just will look for workflow, and it will give me everything related to workflow. So I'll be of course going into the workflow editor to create the process itself. So let's quickly go into the workflow editor also and see our process. So there's the workflow editor, and I have created a process for procurement, the one which I showed in the slide. So this is my procurement CG workflow, and if I come here, there's the same workflow which was there in the screenshot itself. Now there are a lot of functionalities which are available there. For example, in this case, I use the switch functionality, and then I'm using certain conditions, and there is an approval process and all that, and everything is available on the right hand side of the screen. So for example, if workflow is there, you want to call another workflow from this workflow, you can do that. And then there is a core functionalities available out of the box, the basic logic which you need to create any process. You can just drag and drop from here. So for example, this one is right now published. I'll just do a checkout of this, and if I want to do let's say I want to create a notification out of it, I'll just drag that one, configure that particular notification, and attach it to my process, and it's good to go. So now let's quickly using Postman, let's say simulate a particular scenario, and let's do this. So I'll just publish it back. I'm not using it. So this particular workflow is triggered by a web service call. It's a REST call. So I'm using Postman for that, as I mentioned earlier. I might just change some a particular value here. I'll say 22, and I'll say okay, send. So when I say send and it gives me a 201 created, that means the data has entered ServiceNow. So now let's quickly go into ServiceNow and look for that particular table also. So now what I've done is, if I go into table, search for that particular table, I can mark that particular table as my favorite, which will start showing up in my favorites tab. So this is my table for procurement. I click on this one. Let's go and see the data in this. Now in this case, I should be able to see the data which I just published, and also previous data also. So now, for example, you can see the data which I just published. I think this is the 122nd of August, and everything is coming and sitting in on this particular table, and the whole workflow is created on that particular instance itself, on this particular table. It gets triggered on that. So now, as soon as it gets triggered, it creates an instance of that particular workflow, which will be present here. So now, if I come here and I can see it is in an executing stage right now. I'll click on this, and it will show me the particular instance of that particular workflow. Now, in this case, it has gone to an approval process. It is showing okay, less than 100K, and it's budgeted, and it will give me all the transaction history, the log, whatever I'm logging from the context from the workflow itself. Now let's quickly come and see if I just need to let's come to all and look for approval also. So I'll say okay, my approval. So there is the one which is waiting for me to be approved. So I'm playing a CIO role in this one. I'll just come here and approve it, and the whole process should complete, and it will show as completed in this one. So if I go back here, it will say finished. So this particular workflow has been finished. So now in this case, what has happened is a particular application created a request for procurement. The whole process went through it, and I got an opportunity to approve the process based on certain conditions. So this is a very basic flow for ServiceNow. And other than that, of course, there are a lot of things which I did behind the scene. For example, I created a table for this for this particular process. Then I created the workflow altogether from scratch, and I made it work. So it is, and then there is a platform. As a platform, ServiceNow provides a learning portal also, which is very super easy to use. And I'll highly encourage everybody to leverage that learning program from ServiceNow, and it's pretty straightforward and simple to use also. Now going back to our use case, right? So now in this case, so this particular step has happened. So I've created the workflow. The workflow got executed. Now let's go to the next step. So this is the Fivetran, and this screenshot I have taken it from Fivetran documentation itself. So this particular tool is very straightforward. I didn't even had to go to any documentation for this, because it was such a guided experience for me. I knew okay, what is my source, what is my destination, and I just configured it, and the whole application it had worked. So after running the workflow, generating data, we are now moving data into Databricks. Okay, so one thing which I want to highlight about Fivetran, it stood out for me in terms of simplicity. It's very guided in nature. So let's quickly go into the demo for Fivetran also. So again, this is a free trial version. I think they give a 14-day trial version for Fivetran. So again, it's pretty straightforward. It says what it does, and it does beautifully. So in this case, so I know which are the destinations I need to configure for. For your case, you just have to look for destination. You will say, okay, let's say 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll say ABC. I'll say add, and it will give me which are the destinations which are available for me. And for my use case, I'm using Databricks. So I just chose Databricks and started configuring the details for that one. And again, as I mentioned, it is very guided in nature. It will tell you okay, which are the placeholders for connections and all I have to put in, and it immediately started working for me. So once destinations are there, you will create a connector also from where the data has to come from. So in this case, for me, it was ServiceNow. Okay, let's say if you have something else, let's say if I want to do okay, my destination is already configured. I'll say okay, lake house again, and I will select that one, and then I will use my all the sources which are available there, 275 sources which are already available to be configured as a source data. And if by chance the source is not available, you can create a light connector with the Fivetran team also. So I went through their documentation. They talk about you put in a request, and some of the engineers, they'll work with you, and the connector can be created with that. So it sounds pretty straightforward, but all the leading sources and destinations are already configured. Once that is there, it will start creating schemas for you into the target destination itself. So if I come here and show you the log, so again, recently I have paused all the synchronization because I moved data, or I have already moved data from ServiceNow into Databricks. But you can look for all the tables which have been moved. Now let's say in this case I want to move the procurement table, the one which I created. So this is the table which I created, and I can just say resync, and it will say I can do a start resync of that. So whatever data has come after the last sync, it will pull that data and put it into Databricks itself. So again, pretty very straightforward tool in terms of usage, in terms of functionality, and it does what it says. So it is pretty I'll say kudos to the Fivetran team on this one. So now let's pause this one. So once the data has moved into Databricks, that's where our next step will come in. So now Fivetran has moved the data for you from ServiceNow into Databricks, and that is now at the Databricks level is where the magic will happen. When I say magic, like all the data-driven decisions, all you have to do data mining on top of that. You want to give that data to your data engineers and figure out what are the patterns, and not only from ServiceNow but also from other sources also. So that's the beauty of Databricks. It's not only connected with one of the data ingestion tool. You can use any tool from any source and move data into Databricks and get value out of it. At a very high level architecture, Databricks, again, this screenshot I've taken it from Databricks website itself. So it has primarily two main components. I'm talking about the operational components. One is the data panel and plane, and the other one is the control plane. And as the name says, it does that. For control plane, it is doing what it is saying what it will do. For example, it is to control the clusters, it is to control the web application itself. And the data plane, as the name says, that is where the data sets reside, and on top of that all the intelligence will be built. So again, at a very high level, this is the architecture for Databricks. Now let's quickly jump into the tool also. So this also, again, free trial is available. You can sign up for Databricks. 14-day trial is there, and start playing with this particular tool. So I did configuration about it with AWS for the data, and I'll not go into the details about that one. But the good part is, you can use any of the cloud provider which is out there to have your data set in there. So very simple UI. You create your workspace, and this is where you will create a workspace, attach a meta store for your workspace, and you can have data from various sources come into Databricks. Then on top of that, you can start playing with that particular data. So I've already, as I mentioned, I've already pulled the data from Snowflake, not Snowflakes, from ServiceNow into Databricks, and data is already sitting there. So these are my catalogs. So if I come here, ServiceNow, and within this I will see all my data which is available here. So now let's say I'll again look for my procurement table, which is this one. I'll click on this. This is one of the I'll say one of the USP for Databricks. very simple use case, very simple tool, and click on the table, click on the lineage, and it will tell me the lineage for that particular table. And not only at the table level, it will give me the lineage at the attribute level also. So from where that attribute is coming, from where that attribute is going, for example. And again, it's one of the thing which stands out for Databricks. I'm pretty sure other tools will be doing something similar, but it definitely stood out. The simplicity of this stood out for me. So again, once data is there, you will you can run your queries on top of that data, because data is already sitting there. So now let's say I pulled in the incident table also. So if I run this particular query, it will give me all the incidents where the severity is 3 in ServiceNow. And then once this query is there, you can start building your dashboards on top of that. So now what I've done is I've already created query for the procurement process. So this is the one which is the one which I created in ServiceNow, and I created a query on top of it, and I have saved this particular query, and using this query I have created a particular dashboard on top of it. So this is where the actual benefit of a tool like Databricks comes in, because right now it is ServiceNow, and I could do multiple source applications also right here at this particular place. And then when I click on this, these are some of the dashboards which I have created on this. So procurement process, right? So in a single snapshot, it's telling me that okay, how many are new contracts which are coming in, how many are renewals, and how many are extensions. And then there are a lot of other things also you can do on top of this. So for my process, data was not there for example, let's say geographical data was not there, but you can definitely have that also. And you can use those parameters to highlight that okay, from where those contracts are originating, for example. So very simple dashboard. There are multiple variety of charts which are available there. You can create whichever ones which you feel comfortable with. Then you can have your alerts also. So I created one alert on my data. So if let's say if a threshold is less than a particular value, it is sending out an alert for me. And then again, this is pretty I'll say pretty logical. You get your data, you create a workspace, get your data, create a query, create your dashboard on top of that, create alerts based on certain condition. So as I mentioned earlier, I'll not go into the detail of everything in the tool right now, but I'll encourage everybody to go into this, and it's look for things which are useful for your particular use case. And then for example, marketplace, this I think came out recently, but I'll say a wonderful functionality. There are companies out there who want to share their data. It's a good place to have everything in one place, where you can request for access from all the companies which want to share their data. And the last one, it's a partner connect. So for example, in this case itself, I used Fivetran. It's a partner connect only, which is working along with Databricks, and it is taking data from any of the source and giving it to Databricks, so that you can enrich Databricks more and get more value out of it. So now just wrapping up, let's look at the final thing of this particular. Okay, this is. So now in summary, so this particular use case, I'll say 3 different applications, and every application brought in their USP to the table. So insight into data, most logically, Databricks provide that particular capabilities, analytical capabilities. And on top of that, what Databricks has done, it's the way they are using the AI also right now. So it's not only the embedded chat help from AI, it is more than that. And more than that, meaning you have the data, you can have a context around the responses which AI is giving you. It's not a generic AI functionality. So it is giving responses based on your data and based on your context itself. Again, ServiceNow, it's one of the leading tool, and there are reasons for that. It gives so many rich functionalities to handle your use cases, your processes. And it's I'll say it's again pretty straightforward. I didn't have to go through any formal training to do this thing. and some of the obvious benefits, data driven decisions and continuous improvement, because you know your data, you are understanding what data is doing and improving your process accordingly. Lastly, I just wanted to share all the resources from where I pulled in this information, and also how to sign up for the free trials also. And since you guys are, if you are here till now, I'm pretty sure that you have interest in these tools, and I'll say, play with this and share your feedback with me, and let me know, if you want me to double click on something more, or just create. I can definitely spend time and focus on a particular feature also. And once again, thanks a lot for joining me in this exploration of enterprise tool and their impact on enterprise processes. I'll say stay curious and keep learning. Thank you. Take care.